consume until the end. I walk alone, confused, I can't pretend this is my life. Calling for output, no very answers. Something's pulling me under the pressure, into the cancer. It's pulling me, chained to the same. I can't run from my enemy. Trapped inside a divided me. Just one more fight. Can you hold on? 'Cause I can break me down. I'll feel it for a come down. Because it breaks me down. I think I'm addicted to my conviction. It will tear and bear till I cave in. Leave me behind, confined to my own sins. Let's see it. Calling for output, no very answers. Something's pulling me under the pressure, into the cancer. It's pulling me, chained to the same. I can't run from my enemy. Trapped inside a divided me. Just one more fight. Can you hold on? 'Cause I can break me down. I'll feel it for a come down. Because it breaks me down. I think I'm addicted to my conviction. Just one more fight. Can you hold on? 'Cause I can break me down. Just one more fight. Can you hold on? 'Cause I can break me down. I feel it for a come down. Because it breaks me down. I think I'm addicted to my conviction.
What is up, everybody? I'm on the wrong screen again. I keep doing this. There we go. Welcome to the Wednesday night show, man. I got a good show for you tonight. Somebody that most of you know. I've been looking forward to doing this. But let's get into paying those bills. Looking in the wrong camera. Let me. There we go. The headshot. Got to pay those bills first before we get into the show. You know, we always have to do that. Hello to everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for being here. As always, I appreciate you. Guys, first and foremost is going to be, let me grab my reads. My friends over at Yellow Jacket. Where is it? Here we go. Sorry, I was unprepared. As most of you know, I'm a second generation HVAC tech, 20 plus years in the trade. But I always think back to those days working with my dad that I cherish so much. My dad always said, your tools are an extension of yourself. If you buy quality tools and take care of them, they'll take care of you. Most of the time, you only have to buy them once. Well, that brand I think back to is Yellow Jacket. They've been making quality tools for 70 years and counting, and they make them right here in the US of A. If you're looking for quality tools you can depend on to get the job done, then look no further than Yellow Jacket. Yellow Jacket has been trusted by my family for generations now, and we don't plan on stopping anytime soon. Remember, 70 years of expertise built into every tool. Next is going to be my friends over at Company Cam. Guys, if you guys have not checked out this website, it is so much more than just photo documentation. I don't know if you guys know, like when you take a picture and you upload it, it gives like your GPS coordinates. So when you do that and you upload it into like Google or Google My Business and stuff like that, if all that stuff is linked, when somebody searches you, all those different pictures pop up. And if somebody can see the work that you did, I want to look into explain that properly because it does even more than I even knew. I'm learning more of this as we go along and as we use it. So Company Cam has been freaking amazing. The only app every HVAC company needs Company Cam makes it dead simple to communicate, document, and problem solve with your technicians no matter where you are. Company Cam brings documentation, communication, and liability protection together in one simple, easy-to-use app for you and your entire team. Take unlimited photos and videos, share custom reports, create flawless before and afters, and even communicate and share progress with the property owners with galleries and project timelines, all from your smartphone. Company Cam, the only app every HVAC company needs. Check it out at companycam.com/HVAC Uncensored. Go get a free 14-day trial. Free. No credit card, no nothing. Try it for free. See if you like it. And if you do, for being a part of HVAC Uncensored Nation, they will give you 50% off your first 2 months. I got 2 more to get through, guys. And trust me, it'll be worth it because all these people have put together some giveaways for you guys that are going to knock your fucking socks off. Next is going to be actually Blue On. Guys, if you have heard me talking about here in the last week or so that Blue On has finally released where you can order parts through the Blue On app through your local supply house and get them delivered right to you. They are dropping some amazing stuff. Mr. Pete and those people over at Blue On are amazing. Later on in the show, I will tell you about some upcoming shows next week. I'm pretty sure it's next week. Where we have the Blue On Tech Support podcast, where some of their tech support guys are coming on with me, and we're going to start doing a routine thing where we cover different technical topics, whether it's airflow, refrigeration cycle, whatever it may be, and then you guys can ask questions live, and we're going to start doing this on a routine basis, at least once a month, maybe every other week. We're going to see how it works out at first. But let's see which one that I want to do here. All right, we all know how awesome Blue On is. The company is single-minded on helping and supporting techs in the field. That's literally their mission. Get on the app, update the app. After that, use Blue On to order parts and materials from your local supply house. This is how Blue On makes money, and we can support them. How they make money is when we buy parts using their supply houses. And as long as we use these little features, Blue On and all their support with manuals, tech support for any kind of system you're working on will always be 100% free for the technicians. Blue On also knows that you guys would rather get on with the show than listen to this shit. So thanks to Blue On for letting me do a super short read for you guys. That's funny as hell. All right, last one. I promise, last one, and then we'll get on. We got to pay the bills, guys. If you guys... Oh, what are we doing? Oh, you guys are seeing the guest and you're not supposed to. You guys know the guest. God, he was hiding. You weren't supposed to know who it was yet. Last but not least, guys, is Chirp. They were on the show a couple of weeks ago. Mr. Ryan Fenn. Guys, home automation, or not home automation, like automation inside of your business is amazing. And if you done right, it takes the burden off of your CSRs, the people in the office, and you can make so much money off of it because your existing customer base is how you make money. Chirp does it the best. Trust me, at Beltway, we have used every company known to man, and nobody even comes close to holding Chirp's jockstrap. They actually do what they say they do, and some. So I highly suggest all you business owners out there, if you're looking something to fill this need, go check out Chirp. If you go to www.chirp.com/HVAC Uncensored, they will give you 50% off your first 3 months. All right. Okay, sorry. Thanks for bearing with me. Let's get on with the show. Let's do the pledge and we'll fucking rock and roll. All right? Relax. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States, and thank you to all those men and women who defend it.
Five, four, three, two, one, go.
Welcome to the #1 rated HVAC podcast. If you're looking to grow in the HVAC industry, then you're in the right spot. Blue collar people talking about blue collar shit. Let's get better together. So turn up the volume, buckle your seatbelt, and let's welcome your host, Gil KV Jr.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. I'm your host, Gil KV Jr. Another Wednesday, man. Another fucking show. So happy to be here. You guys see the guest. Obviously, I was joking. This is somebody that I've been talking to a while, had the pleasure of meeting when we were in Las Vegas. And I give him so much props because starting a YouTube channel, starting a podcast and all that, a lot of people talk about it, but it's doing it. The first step is just getting it going, and a lot of people don't do that or can't get it. And he did that, and he's doing a fucking amazing job. So everybody, please put your hands together for our good friend, Mr. Pat Finley. Ooh, there he is.
What's going on, Gil?
What's up, buddy? Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. We talked about it for a while, and I'm glad it finally worked out, and we could get it nailed down and get me here. So I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, of course, buddy. To everybody, sorry about being a little out of sorts tonight. As Pat knows, my mom's in the hospital. I won't go into a bunch of details. So I didn't know if we were going to have tonight. I got home at the last minute. So just give me a little break if my mind doesn't seem to be all there. But we'll get through this, and we're going to have a good show. All right? But anyway, so Commercial Kitchen Chronicles. Let's when did it finally get released? How long's it been out now?
It's been out for a couple of months. Haven't been real consistent. I'm a tech, man. I'm super busy, and trying to find time to manage everything is not my strong point. I've buried myself in work for years and kind of left the family and other things in the background. So I'm trying to focus more on the family now. So it's coming along. I'm making time for it. So we're like every other company that does what we do. We're short staffed, and I'm working long hours. So when I come home, I don't really want to record. I don't really want to do anything. So it's been a challenge, but it's coming along. I've got some goals for July to have several episodes and to have several interviews. So I think once that gets rolling through and I get in a routine, it'll be a lot better. But it's been a couple of months. I've got YouTube and website and some social media stuff, but it's definitely different. I wanted to do it for probably a couple of years. I've always listened to guys like you and a lot of the other podcasts, and I was like, man, I should do that. I drive around the van all day, and I listen, and I always looked for food service tech. That's what we're called. We service restaurant stuff. So, but there's never anybody really just focuses on that. There's a lot of HVAC guys, some refrigeration guys. I watched everybody on YouTube. I was like, man, there's no one showing, the greasy, dirty fryers and ovens and that kind of stuff. So it piqued my interest, and I always said I'd do it. And I have ADHD, and my mind goes everywhere. And I always say I'll do a lot of things, and I generally don't do them. And enough people held my feet to the fire that I actually did it. The president of my company caught wind of it, and I was walking by his office one day. He's like, hey, Pat, we need to talk. And I was like, oh, shit, I fucked up. He's like, oh, that's good, man. I was like, oh, okay. He's like, it's about your podcast. I was like, oh, he's going to tell me I can't do it. And he's like, no. He's like, I want you to do it. I want you to support you. So they support me. They want to use it, to get the word out on what we do. So kind of like just explain what our industry is. I mean, there's a lot of guys that have, know about HVAC and refrigeration and plumbing and electricians. And it's like, we're kind of left out, I feel like. I mean, because we really do everything. And and I'm not trying to like toot my own horn or anything, but we do a lot of different stuff, and no one really knows what we do. So it's kind of just bring it to the forefront and help with recruiting. So they stand behind me. So we'll see how it goes.
That's awesome. And I have, I have a soft spot in my heart for that because that's where I started at, kitchen equipment, refrigeration, all that kind of stuff. And that's why when we talked, when you said like, hey, I want to do a podcast about this. And I was like, dude, that's fucking awesome because you're right. A lot of people are not hitting those, there's a lot of vague HVAC podcasts, residential, strictly commercial stuff, but not, that kitchen equipment side. There's some like YouTube videos now, talking about those kind of things, but nothing consistent like that. And well, real fast. So what is the company you work for?
It's General Parts. We're in, I think we have 27 branches. We service 30 some states. We were recently acquired by Partstown. A lot of people kind of freak out about that, but we were acquired by Partstown, so we're part of that group. But it's pretty cool. I've had the opportunity to travel, so I've gone to Florida and worked for a couple of weeks. Take my wife down there, so I'd work my 8-10 hours, and we'd go sit on the beach every night and drink beer and
What's wrong
eat
with that?
food. I train for them, so I get to train for a couple different manufacturers. We do work for Garland and Frymaster. I'm a trainer for them, so I travel to our branches and I'll train our guys on that equipment. And then also I started doing training for CFESA, which is Commercial Food Equipment Service Association. It's kind of like the body that like not really sanctions us, but like kind of like works for us and does stuff for us. And so I train refrigeration for them for twice a year. But General Parts is treating me pretty good. I've been here 11 years, and people always like, oh, you always work all the time. I was like, well, it's not General Parts' problem. It's my own problem. I don't know how to say no.
It's because you're a hard worker, man. And just know in the beginning, finding time to do YouTube and podcast, it's always a struggle because it's like adding another job. I mean, that's really what it is. It's another job. And thank God, like I love my wife to death. Thank God that her and my kids are so supportive because it takes you away from them. So now I allot certain times to do certain things, and if I don't get it done in an hour or whatever the allotted time is, then I got to figure it the fuck out, because now I've gotten down to a rhythm because I've done the podcast long enough, but it was always fucked up at first. I'm like, oh, I'm going to edit the podcast Sunday night. I'm up till like fucking 3:00 in the morning. I got to wake up and go do a service meeting for our team in like 3 hours. I'm getting to the meeting like, good morning, guys. Happy Monday. Like I just, I'm a fucking zombie. But I know I've said this, but I really do give you the credit, man, that you actually follow through with it. Because I can't tell you how many people message me. First of all, a lot of people, and I've said this before, and I don't want to turn this into a negative thing, but a lot of people say that they're out there to help people when they're trying to start shows and stuff like that. And they say that, but I don't think they really are. But a lot of like me and a lot of my friends who do this, I will always help anyone who says they want to do this because I think it's awesome. The more people doing it, the more education, the more people can learn about different topics in our trade. But the fact that you were one of the ones that reached out and asked questions and actually followed through with it is pretty fucking awesome, man. So it's good to see. Your logo looks fucking amazing. See, by the way.
Thanks. I went back and forth forever, man, and I had some guys that they were going to do it, and they were busy. They're tradesmen, and they just kind of do it on the side. And I was like, screw it. I was like, I don't want to bother these guys. I know how it is to be busy and work. So I found some guy on Fiverr, I think, and we went back and forth several times, and he did a pretty good job. So it was worth it. I'm just kind of a little leery about the actual oven in the background. We'll see if anything ever comes about that because some people have made some comments about it, but no one from that particular brand has said anything. So we'll see.
Oh, they might not say. Well, as long as you mix it up. So I got my logo made from Fiverr, and they should. So I got mine copyrighted. So if you want off air, I can tell you the process. It doesn't cost anything. It's just following some paperwork. So like all my stuff is copyrighted. If somebody goes to use it, I can be like, boop, hey, motherfucker. Give them, you know what I mean?
Do that with the name and everything. Like I took 2 weeks vacation. We went to Vegas. Well, we went to Vegas for a week and then we went to Florida for a week. My wife's stepmom has cancer and she'd never been to Vegas and she can only like have fun certain weeks. So it just happened it was the week before we were going to Florida and we go to Florida the same week every year. So we went to Vegas for a week and Florida for a week. And by the time I got to Wednesday, the second week, I was absolutely bored out of my mind. Like I was sitting at a dining room table, staring at the ocean, creating a website. I was like, I'm done with vacation. I need to do something productive. So I was like, well, I better create a website before I start doing this. And someone steals my name or steals the website, tries holding it for ransom. And that was the only thing I did. I haven't thought about copyright and everything. I thought about it the other day and I was like, I may want to copyright my logo at least, my name or something.
Yeah, like it gets crazy now, man. Like I have the podcast is an actual S corp because when you start it, I always started doing this for fun. It's always been for fun. I mean, yeah, the podcast makes money now, which is great, but um now it's like crazy because I got to be careful because you know uh at first I had an LLC. Then my tax guy said that was stupid to make it an S corp, and you got to be careful because you start making enough money that the tax man, Uncle Sam's gonna want his cut, all those kind of things, and then insurances. I thought that was dumb, but I have insurance where if somebody listens to this podcast and they hurt themselves and they're like, "Oh, well, I heard on this," i- is that probably never gonna happen? Probably. But just some things I've learned are like you should probably be careful. And it doesn't cost that much. It's just little things, but I just try to cover my ass on whatever avenue that I can. So between taxes, insurances, copyright stuff, I just want to make sure that it's all good. My new website should be dropping here soon. Um, I don't know if you heard the podcast HVAC Secrets Revealed.
No, I didn't catch that one.
Oh, that's Evident Dad, and they do a good show. They together own On Purpose Media, and they were building my website for me. And I've been so busy, I just haven't got back to them. So really, it's not on them; it's on me. So mine should be out soon. Trying to get all the stuff in there and all that kind of stuff. Um,
Mine's terrible. It's just a GoDaddy thing. I was bored and I just did it on GoDaddy real quick just to make sure I had the name. So that was the only thing I did. So
I looked at it today.
I haven't been on it in a few days, so who even knows if it's up?
Yeah, I looked at it today. I thought that was pretty good. I mean, I guess is it the best website I've ever seen? No, but I mean, it looks pretty legit. I mean, you have a website and have a presence.
Yeah, it's a start and it's out there, so at least it gives me some SEO content. That's like our marketing guy for us. I talk to him all the time, and he's like, "Hey, when you post, use these words, and on your website, you need to have these words." And I'm like, "Holy cow!" And I mean, it worked. I went from not having any presence to like within a week, like going back and Google searching myself or the Commercial Kitchen Chronicles. I was like, "Holy cow!" I'm like first page. I'm like, "Where'd this come from?"
Oh shit! Sorry, I was going through some of these
Uh,
comments.
you're, I
Um,
don't know how scrolling through the chat and talking at the same time, man.
yeah. Well, I redid the studio, so I have 100. So you can see it over here. I have a 180-degree screen.
Nice.
So it's 49 inches, 27, 27. So there's enough space for everything. But even though it's still hard. That's why I want to get back to doing some of just like the hangouts, because that's just me talking to the people in the chat. Because sometimes I feel bad, like when you're having a conversation with a guest, and that's what this podcast, that's what you have when you have guests on. Trying to have a conversation with somebody else, it's in the chat, it just gets hard. But I do appreciate all these people that come in here every week.
Yeah,
Um,
I try to do some lives on like Instagram and stuff. I got kicked off Facebook Live for a little bit of some content I put up that was on my personal page. But when you tie your personal page in with a different page, anything that happens on your personal page affects that. So I couldn't go live. And I always pick the worst time. It's like I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to like posting, and there's rules of times and frequency, and I just like ignore all that stuff. And I was talking to the marketing guys, and like, hey, you don't need to post this time, and watch posting how many times or whatever. And I'm like, I'm just gonna do my thing, guys. It's me just doing whatever I want. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's like, okay, fair enough.
yeah, Facebook's crazy, man. Well, I mean, I had my old Facebook group was up to like 80 something thousand members, and they shut me down. And Facebook is one of those things where uh, it sucks. And we've got the group back up to like 40 something thousand members, and that's fine. But it opened my eyes to make sure that I shouldn't have all my eggs in one basket. So now I've been trying to like, build up Instagram, YouTube, and stuff like that. It's not going as fast as I would like, but um, and the fact that I built the group back up in a short time, so I know that people will come back because Facebook's pretty rough, man. And
That group's a bunch of savages, man. I posted that one time, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
Brutal.
and the sad part is, man, it's like that's not why I created the group, but I feel like because of the name, there's no way I'm ever gonna get away from it. There's just I can sit there until I'm blue in the face and be like, the uncensored part was based off the podcast and supposed to give my uncensored opinion on topics and yada yada yada. And all you ever get is this is HVAC uncensored, not censored, man. I'm supposed to be able to say, like, yeah, it's not a free pass to be a fucking douchebag, but and the sad part is it's better now than it was. So,
Oh yeah.
so I've thought about trying to start another group, or I have some other things in the work that for people that actually do want help or they do want to learn a way that I'm going to try to build another community for people, and I'll see how it goes because it's going to take up more of my time. But if I'm going to do that, I want people that are legitimately interested for me to try to help them, not just, that kind of stuff,
Oh, I've been a troll plenty in my life, so I mean, I get it, but I just wasn't expecting it. My first post in there, and they ate me alive, and I was like, "Well, this ain't the group to put this kind of stuff in here," so I'll just ignore that for a while.
Yeah, it's and it sucks, and I hate that. I hate that people. Sometimes it's good, and the sad part is there's so many knowledgeable people in that group, and it's like
Mm.
the 20% that just go ham, and everything's got to be negative, or this person sucks, they should kill themselves, and it's just it's crazy. But I think that's where we are as a trade, though, man. It's my dick's bigger than yours, I'm better than you, and everybody's got to portray that online. It's really stupid. These people are never going to meet in person. You're probably never going to bid against each other on a job. You're never going to work on the same equipment. So what the fuck does it matter? You know what I mean?
I used to be that way, man. I used to be like, "Oh, everyone's a competition." I can't be telling them how to do stuff. I can't help these guys out. And then I realized there's so much damn work out there that I can't do it all. You can't do it all.
Yeah.
Help these guys be better techs, better people, and it's going to pay off in the long run. I mean, it's not sustainable to work 70 hours a week. I mean, it, you're killing yourself. And I've learned that the hard way, but right now I'm just in a position where I have to do it. But I mean, we need to get more guys in the trade that care and want to learn and want to do a good job. And I think once that happens, we'll be a lot better off.
Yeah, and it's that's why I don't know where that came from. That's why people like when you go to these groups and you're shitting on people, well, that's not going to attract the younger crowd that comes in. And some of the best of the younger crowd has been people that aren't from the trade. There have been ones that are just good people. I always say this on numerous shows that, you can teach somebody how to do HVAC or refrigeration. You can't teach them to not be a shitbag. You know what I mean? If they don't have morals and work ethic and stuff like that, you can't teach that part. So the ones that are coming in, you can teach them the trade and get them to, work. And I know commercial is a little bit different, but, that's how I was coming up. It was always 70, 80 hours a week. You had to grind. That's how you made money. It was the only way. So that's why now I'm trying to enjoy all those things we were talking about, like kids' baseball games, softball games, stuff like that, because I've missed it for so long. But one thing that I feel going forward, especially with the younger generation that we have now, is you're not going to be able to sustain that. Nobody's going to want to work for you. It's not that old school kind of mentality, put your nose to the grind and just fucking rock and roll. That's why now I really think the whole method of doing less calls per day, at least in the residential side, less calls per day, being more thorough, taking more time, the guys do more revenue, they're off at a decent time, they're making more money themselves, everybody's happy, it's a win-win. I don't know how you would translate that into the commercial side unless you just had a shit ton of text to be able to get to all the calls you had to get to.
Well, what we do is we're just so understaffed. I mean, COVID hit, we let go 50% of the staff. And then we didn't really bring anybody back because a couple of guys were older and were going to retire within months anyway. So we just let them go. So we didn't fill them. And then we had a couple other guys leave in the meantime. And we hired a younger guy. He lasted about a year. He went to local community college and did HVAC. He came over and he rode with me and another tech for 6-8 months, and we trained him on cooking equipment, and I trained him on refrigeration and stuff. And he went on his own. He was doing some stuff. I mean, he was making mistakes, but he was a younger kid. He was like 24, 25 years old. He's a great kid. I'm friends with him. He moved actually 5 minutes from my house. I mean, I still message him occasionally. And he did his first week on call and had to work 70 hours The next week he put in his 2 weeks notice. He said, I can't do this. He went back to working at a hospital, took a pay cut, and went back to working at the hospital he came from. I was like, holy cow, man.
Yeah.
And this young generation is not going to kill themselves like people, like we are. I mean, I'm only 40 years old, and I always tell everybody I was born the wrong generation. I should have been born 20 years, younger, 20 years older. I mean, but these younger guys, they're not going to, if they're going to have to work 45 hours a week, that's going to be about it. But I don't know how it's going to happen. I mean, our industry is different because we have, the refrigeration side. So you're talking thousands of dollars of food. You're talking people's well-being. If this food spoils, these people don't catch it and it doesn't get thrown away. Someone can get sick. Someone can get sued. So the emergency side of ours is kind of a little different. So, but
it's definitely different. A few points that you said. It's funny because years ago, I had a guy that worked for me before I came to work at Beltway, and it wasn't even busy yet. And this guy, he wasn't like crazy old, but he wasn't like no young buck. And he had worked like 30 hours, 39 hours that week. And he comes in, he's like, hey, Gil, I need to talk to you. I was like, okay. He came into the office, and I'm in there with the owner, and I'm like, well, you can just talk to me and Mike at the same time. And he was like, yeah, man. He's like, I can't do this 40 hours a week stuff, man. I was like, what? I thought he was joking. I don't know where the feedback comes. Yeah, I don't know what he meant by that, but I was like, okay, man, like if that's what you say. So he ended up rocking and rolling and didn't work there anymore. But it's definitely crazy, the mentality. And I've been on that side when I did all that commercial kitchen equipment and stuff like that. You're right, because when I worked for a company called Miller Refrigeration around here, we did all like the Costco's, Walmart's. You got those big rack systems, and when they call and say, hey, I got a freezer down, they got $2 million worth of product, and it's in Sterling, Virginia. It's not like, oh, I'll see you in the morning. It's like, no, bitch, I'll see you in an hour. Like, you need to be here. And if you got to change a compressor, we had like rebuilt compressors over there. There was one ready with the chain fall that you could just bring it across and drop it in. Like, you knew that you were going to be there all night, and get it done. So it's definitely a different animal that if you've only ever been a resi guy, you don't know about that world. And it sucks.
I've never done any rack stuff. I always say that I want to do rack stuff, and then I realize I don't want to start over. I mean, right now I do pretty well for myself, and I don't want to be, the bottom guy on the totem pole and working my way back up. But I always watch those guys working on racks, and man, I am so intrigued. There's a lot of guys on Instagram and social media I follow, and it's just the shit that they do. It's like, how the hell are you doing this? And I'm like, it's just nuts.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I had a good time. That's what I got into with my dad. That's how we did everything. And I did kitchen equipment. I did that for a long time, changing, fryers, the ovens, the Tralson refrigerators, the ice machines, the Hojisaki, the Scotsman, all those kind of things. I did all that, and part of me misses it sometimes. Like, I like that kind of interaction. I don't miss working in restaurants only because now I can go out to eat and be like a normal human being, like a civilian. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not to where I'm like, I'm not going in this place because I know their kitchen's fucking gross. I won't eat. I don't know if you have them around you guys, Ruby Tuesdays. But I won't eat in one of those to save my life because I worked in so many and every single one of them was fucking gross.
Well, it's weird. I always tell people just because you pay more doesn't mean it's any cleaner or nicer. Like I went into like one of the top like chain steakhouses, like it's $100 a person, and they were building a new location like catty corner across the interstate, and they wanted us to come in like, hey, evaluate our equipment. And I'd never been in there before. They're like, evaluate our equipment. We're getting ready to move. We want to know what we should take and what we shouldn't. I walked in the back door and I looked around. I found the manager said, throw all this shit away and go buy new. I said, don't take your shit across the street. And I left. My boss was like, why'd you tell him that? I was like, I showed him pictures. I was like, look at this shit, dude. I was like, people are coming in here spending $100 on a dinner per person. And this fucking place is a shithole. I mean, I got over it fast. I mean, when I started this field, I weighed like 225 pounds. And last year I was up to like 440. I'm down to like 330 now. But yeah, I got over it pretty fast. I mean, you go into these restaurants, dude, and they can't open, or they're running on one fryer out of four, or, they have an oven down. They can only serve half their menu, and you're their hero. They feed you. And I went from being an electrician to being up and down ladders all day, running nonstop, to sitting in a van for half the day, driving around and sitting in front of an oven fixing it. And I just put on the weight. I mean, everyone, dude, I've had St. Elmo's, Ruth Chris. I mean, everywhere it's fancy, expensive. Like they sent me home food from my wife and family. I went to the Indianapolis Indians baseball field. I fixed Alto Shame combi oven, a big combi oven they had an event coming up. And the chef's like, hey, we got this open suite. He said, you and your family come in. He said, I'll give you all the food, the booze you want. You guys can watch the game in the suite. Unfortunately, I already had plans that weekend. I couldn't come. But I mean, it's just weird how these people are so appreciative because they are screwed without this piece of equipment. It's not like you're sitting at your house and you're hot and you're miserable, you're uncomfortable. This is affecting their bottom dollar, people's livelihoods. A lot of these places, if something's down, they can't open up. There's people, they have 5, 6, 7 people that aren't making any money.
Yeah, no, I get that to a T, and that is, and so when I first did it with my dad, there was a restaurant chain that we took care of. It was like a kind of like a Golden Corral. It was called Cactus Willie's. It was Horn and Horn before that, but it was like a all you could eat steak buffet. And we took care of. My dad ran all the maintenance for all, like I think it was like 10, 12 locations. Um, so anyway, I when I first got into the trade and working with my dad, I'm eating like fucking steak and chicken wings and like mashed potatoes for lunch and shit. Like you look at a picture of me, and the funny thing is um, when I first did it, I was on a cycle of roids, so I was getting jacked. So it
So you were
was
just ways.
yes, so it wasn't bad at first because I was just eating the calories and I was burning it off in the gym and I was getting kind of swole. But when I stopped, oh, dude, if you look at a picture of me when my wife was pregnant with my oldest son, I'm like, my face is so fucking fat. You would have thought I was pregnant, not her. Um, but it's hard to turn down, especially when it's good food. Ha ha ha. Kraus said, yo, Cactus Willie's on 140. Yeah, that one was probably one of the worst ones, but yeah, I used to be up there all the time, man. Um, yeah, that's funny, dude. So did you ever so I guess I never really heard your story, man, not to backtrack. Um, like I guess let everybody that doesn't know, where are you from? How did you get into the trades? Like, how did you get to where you are now?
Well, I grew up in Anderson, Indiana. It's a little town about 25, 30 miles northeast of Indianapolis, up 69 between Fort Wayne and Indianapolis. I grew up out in the country, had a horse farm. So I baled hay. I was just a hardworking kid. Didn't show any interest in girls all through high school. So I took a class at the vocational school for electrical for 2 years, wired a couple houses, did all the maintenance in the building and stuff, which was kind of sketchy. I was a 17-year-old kid in a classroom changing ballasts on live circuits. So 277-volt ballasts, changing them over kids' desks was the craziest thing in the world. I mean, I don't know how they got away with it back then because they couldn't do it now. That's for damn sure.
No.
But I came out and I went union for a short time. 9/11 happened and the construction industry kind of fell on its face. And I didn't start class. So I was unindentured. So when the work fell off, the unindentured guys get kicked off first. And then the journeymen get kicked off first because they're not in school. So I went non-union for about 6 years. And I did everything from commercial to track homes. And then I got to do an apartment. So I was traveling all over Indiana. We'd go into Kentucky, Illinois, Ohio a little bit. I'd do apartment complexes, and it just got to be too much. My dad always did HVAC. He did refrigeration. He owned his own business a little bit when I was real little. He ended up selling that. He went to work for a company called Commercial Parts and Service in Indianapolis, and they do what we do. They did restaurant equipment, and so he transferred into doing refrigeration restaurant equipment. And they got bought out by Ecolab and changed to GCS. And he was an older guy. He didn't want no part of that. He loved working for a mom and pop family. And then when a big corporation came in and bought him out, he didn't want anything to do with it. So he told him he retired. And before he left, he got me into his territory. They were in territory. So he got me in, and he actually went to go work for another company and went to work for himself. But I did 3 years for them, and I did hot side only. I serviced like 12 McDonald's, probably about 40 different schools, all different kinds of stuff. So all I was doing hot side. And I wanted to do refrigeration because I get bored. I got ADHD. So if I do one thing too long, it ruins me. It's bad for whoever I work for because I won't want to do it anymore. So I was like, hey, I want to do refrigeration. And they're like, no, you make us enough money doing hot side. We don't need you to do refrigeration. It will take time to train me or, take me out of the field. I was like, okay, I want a raise. And they were like, oh, we're not in charge of your money. And I was like, well, whatever. Yeah, I'm not an idiot. So I went to training for a week, and a buddy of mine worked for another company, and they were doing Golden Corrals, and they want someone to do cooking equipment. He's like, hey, we'll bring you in. You do our cooking equipment at Golden Corrals, and we'll train you for refrigeration. I was like, sweet. Like, we're going to pay you this much money. It was like $6 more an hour I was making. I was like, holy cow. $6 an hour when you're making $16 ain't crap. $6 an hour, huge raise. I was like, sweet. So I did the wrong thing. I came in on Monday morning for you. I was in the warehouse, opened the garage door, rolled the van in, threw the uniforms in the seat, the keys in the seat, the credit card itself on the seat, and had someone pick me up in the parking lot and went and started another job that morning. Didn't say a word. Looking back now, it's probably one of the dumbest things I've ever done in my life. But I was young. I had a lot of money thrown in my face, and I took a chance. Unfortunately, when I got to the other place, filled out my paperwork, I'm like, hey, how are we going to train for refrigeration? They're like, shit's on your truck, figure it out. So I was like, shit. So I called my dad, and he was pissed off that I did what I did. Luckily, he helped me. Some other guys I know helped me. I had a lot of people I could call and ask questions. I did a lot of research on the internet. I did a lot of YouTube, and eventually I taught myself refrigeration just between people I knew and everything else, and just kind of stuck. So I bounced around for a couple of years. It was not the easy way to learn refrigeration, but it's been trying, but it worked. But I bounced around a couple of years, had some sleep problems. I gained weight, working in restaurants, like I said, and I developed sleep apnea, so I had to use a CPAP, and I didn't have CPAP, so I'd be driving, and I'd fall asleep, and I'd rear end somebody. I'd run off the road and hit something. I'd turn, and I'd sideswipe something. And I lost 3 jobs. You can fix anything, but we just can't fucking insure you anymore. You got to go. So eventually I landed where I'm at now. Got a CPAP machine so I can sleep. And I've been here a little over 11 years and growing. I mean, it's been a hell of a journey, but I mean, I couldn't see myself ever working in an office or a factory. I did a factory job for like 2 months, and I was like, no, this ain't gonna work.
Yeah, no, I love this, man, and that's an awesome story, dude. And it's I know looking back, it sucks when you're thrown to the wolves like that, but sometimes I think when you're under the gun, it ends up being one of the best ways to learn, though, because you have no other choice. You have to learn or you're not going to feed your family. You have to get the job done, like when I first left my dad, I knew just enough to be dangerous. I thought I was king ding-a-ling, and I would call my dad. And I've said this story a million times on the show, so people that have followed me for a while heard it. But I would literally call him like every call until like eventually my dad was like, hey, man, you going to give me half your fucking paycheck at the end of the week? And I was like, Dad, come on. He was like, son, I love you. He's like, but you're never going to learn if you keep calling me. He's like, so from now on, don't call me while you're at work. You want to talk about it after work? Call me. He's like, while you're at work, I'm not answering the phone. Click. I was like, what the fuck? But that's the best thing he ever did for me. Like, I'll take a picture of it and post it. All the books back there. I stuck my nose into the books on YouTube, all kind of things, watching videos because I did not want to walk up on a call and not know what was going on. So I did everything in my power to try to learn and do different things. And that's why I say at the end of every show now that it's like, if you're out there and you don't know something, well, then you never tried to learn it. Because there's so many resources now, man, between podcasts and YouTube channels and books and whatever it is. If you want to learn something, you can learn it. So if you keep saying I don't know, then you don't want to know.
Yeah, there's so much information out there. I thought I knew what I was doing, and a few years ago, I stumbled upon Chris Stevens' HVACR videos, and I've learned so much stuff just from watching him and talking to him and other guys out there. Podcasts, people you've had on discussing things. It's amazing the information that's out there. I mean, everyone wants to be paid to learn, and unfortunately, that's not always going to be the case. So I recently took one of Trevor Matthews' classes on compressors. I paid for it myself. I did it on Saturday. I was literally listening to him talk and teach class as I was driving between calls on Saturday because I was running calls and I had my headphones in when I get to a call and I'd listen to him. I went back and watched the video afterwards. But if you're willing to learn, there's tons of information out there. They're not always going to pay you to do it, though. If you want to make money, you're going to have to do it on your own.
Yeah. Well, and you're right. Chris is so smart. Like, and I'm so glad that I've been able to build that friendship with Chris because he is a very very smart dude. Um, like that. Well, like tomorrow, not, just to say this real fast. So tomorrow we have another special episode with somebody that I've looked up to that I think has one of the two best learning YouTube channels out there is going to be Mr. Craig from AC Service Tech. I think him and Brian Orr, as far as, just like learning the basics and learning HVAC, I think they have two of the best channels that are dedicated towards that. Obviously, watching people like Chris and some of the other guys, you can learn, but they break it down in like a teaching, I think they have two of the best. And, I used to watch Craig's, I still watch Craig's videos. I give his video to some of our guys at Beltway. So, finally being able to interview him and being able to meet him in Vegas and stuff, like that's fucking awesome. So channels like his, there's no reason you can say that you don't know.
Yeah, I stumbled upon Craig just in the last year. I had no idea, and like when I was doing some stuff for Safesa, and I was updating his stuff. I mean, their slides are from like the 80s and 70s. There's some stuff that was old and need updated, and I was just stumbling across things, and searching YouTube for videos and stuff. I can, links I can give the guys. Like, hey, I give them all, a section of links of channels they can watch and learn stuff from. And I stumbled across him, and I was like, this guy is fucking smart as hell, man. I was like, I'm just now finding out about this guy. And I went on like a 3-week period where I was like, every night I was like streaming his videos. I found him and friended him on LinkedIn and on some other stuff. I'm like, dude, his stuff is amazing. I'm like, I feel like an idiot.
Yeah, and to be honest, I didn't know that until I got into the YouTube community and I met people like, Ralph Wolf and like Zach from Shop Talk. They were the first ones doing that kind of stuff. I didn't know a lot of things existed. Like, I didn't know what fucking AHR was. I didn't know people had HVAC podcast. I had never really watched YouTube channels. I mean, well, we're not going to get into that story, but that's how I got to be podcasting. You know what I mean? And it's, and seeing that's what I'm saying. Some of the resources out there are just amazing the way those guys teach it. And some people are like, oh, well, all you're doing is teaching, homeowners how to fix stuff. It's a very small percentage. Those people that are going to fix stuff, they're going to do it without YouTube. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that don't want to fuck with it, but I think it's funny when people bitch about that, but they're the same people that look up how to change their own brakes. It's like, don't be a fucking hypocrite. Why aren't you going to the mechanic? Why are you YouTubing it, you fucking hypocrite? You know what I mean? It's
Certified YouTube mechanic, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The people I work for kind of like, they have that same feeling, but they're like, well, they're going to do it regardless. So, like you said, the people that are going to try to figure it out are going to try to figure it out. Now, hopefully they don't hurt themselves in the process, but if they're going to try it, they're going to try it. There's nothing stopping them. Whether you talk about it on YouTube or you talk about it on the podcast, they're still going to try it.
You're good. Yeah, you're good, buddy. And especially nowadays with the times we're in, man, people don't have a whole bunch of money. You know what I mean? Oh, Mr. Hughesman's in here. What's up, Ryan? How you doing, buddy?
Ryan.
Yeah, and Jessica put on there, and she's right. Trevor's the man too. I want to try to get Trevor on. He's another dude that's smart as hell, man. The way he puts stuff, and another one that is supposed to come on the show that his podcast is doing amazing is fucking Brett Wetzel.
Yeah, Brett's good, dude. I talk to him all the time. He'll just like randomly. I stumbled across a meme, and I didn't even realize it was one he created. Someone stole it from him and like cut out his watermark. And I reposted it. He got on there. He's like, oh, so you're stealing my memes too? And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, I didn't steal it from you. I was like, I liked whoever I got it from, and I just copied it. I didn't, cut anything out. He goes, oh, then you didn't steal it. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, so I'll give you credit for any meme you make, dude. And he's like, he'll be bored at an airport just making memes. And he's like, starts sending them to me over and over and over. And he is hilarious, man. I like Brett. Yeah. But Kevin lives like 2 hours from me, his buddy. So I always see Climate Pros, who Kevin works for, and I'm like, is this you? Is this you? Is this you?
Yeah, I've never had the pleasure of meeting him because I guess he wasn't at AHR. So, I would go out to dinner with Chris quite a lot, and he was with Chris. So it was cool hanging out with them, and I know their podcast is fucking rocketed off, which is awesome. And that's another one. He's in like your in your side in the refrigeration where there's a need for that. There wasn't a lot of shows about that kind of stuff, so people were fucking, hopping on it, and that's good for them. I'm glad. I like to see other people succeed, man. That's awesome.
He's been another great resource. You've been a lot of help. Anytime I have a question or anything at all, if I post something, he sees it right off the bat. He'll message me, hey, what's going on? He's giving me information on microphones. So I've got a couple different setups. I got the Rodecaster I use, and then I've got just a USB mic I use, and some headphones, and he's giving me information on everything. So people like you and him have been a tremendous help to me, and I appreciate everybody in the community. I mean, of course, there's always going to be the guys that are going to ignore you or put you down, but I haven't stumbled across any of them. And like I said, I deal with you and Chris Stevens and Brett, and all those guys have been pretty cool.
Well, that's awesome, man. I'm glad I could help. And speaking of YouTube, YouTube is how I taught myself how to podcast, how to edit video, how to edit audio, the stuff to use. And I just try to help because I spent so much money in the beginning buying shit that I didn't need, and not knowing how to hook stuff up, that I'm like, well, hey, if I can help somebody not have the headache that I had, because it's overwhelming. Because like some people, especially in the beginning, and I probably still have it because I don't feel like cutting them all out, where I have like like that kind of stuff in there. And I'm like, dude, I'm an AC mechanic. I'm not even though I've been podcasting for a while, I'm not a fucking disc jockey. So it's just something that's going to happen. It's the information I'm trying to get out, and I'll try to keep making it better. Maybe when I finally hire somebody to edit all this shit for me and it's not me, then I'll worry about it, because then I can yell at somebody else for not doing it.
Well, I'm part of Park sounds like a pretty huge company. They're like, they think they're projected to be like a $2 billion company this year. And my marketing guy for General Parts is like, hey, he's like, I had a meeting with Parts Sound. He's like, don't let them try to take over and make everything super polished and everything. He's like, you're going to turn people off. He's like, you're authentic. Stay authentic. He's like, you'll learn and you'll grow as you go, but people are going to see the progression. If it's one day it sucks and the next day it's professional and looks like 100% better, people are going to turn off. They're not going to want to watch. They're going to know, that someone else is doing it and you're not genuine. So they didn't push me into it. They didn't even ask me about it. They was like, hey, if you want help, we're here to help. If not, do it yourself. So, but I'll learn. I'm fighting with Adobe right now. I don't know what the deal is. I'm mad. I paid a stupid amount of money for Adobe, their whole suite, and I can't use none of it right now. And I'm just ready to scream and throw it all away.
Yeah, I hate Adobe. I'm Mac through and through. So I have Final Cut. I use Ecamm for video, Affinity Photo for the only thing that I use in the Ecamm suite, in the Adobe suite, is Audition. So I use Adobe Audition to do the podcast audio version, only because I don't like Logic Pro for Apple, because that's more like music. It's not really, it's kind of awkward. But I like being able to buy something that's mine. I get all the updates. I'm not giving you fucking $60 a month, and then the first time I don't pay you, I can't use it anymore.
Yeah, that's
Adobe Audacity. That's a free one. That's really good. I used that for the longest time on the podcast, but then when I updated the Mac, I couldn't use it anymore. So
yeah, I don't know what happened to my Adobe. I uninstalled it, wiped it, reinstalled it several times. I had them come on and do the remote access where they come in and they run it and see, and they didn't even tell me what was the problem. They just logged out and closed the ticket out. I'm like, wait, you can't do that. You can at least tell me what's going on. So I don't know. A lot of people are telling me I should have went Mac. I thought about going Mac. I don't know. I bought Adobe to play with, to learn. I was nowhere near using it to its potential. I wasn't going crazy with transitions or nothing. And I had no problems whatsoever. And then one day I tried to throw something together, and I thought maybe it's because I recorded some of it on my iPhone and some of it on my Android. I thought maybe that was it. So I tried something else and it wouldn't render. And I'm like, all of a sudden it's not rendering anything. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And I don't know. I just away from it. Probably.
Once you go Mac, you can't go back, baby.
Oh, I know. Well, our parent company is all Mac, so I'm like, hey, you guys got a Mac? You can slide me and see what's up.
Yeah, I love it only because of the connectivity. I can be on my MacBook Pro and literally stop and then get on my my desktop, my studio Mac, and do whatever. Be on my iPad. I just love the connectivity between the two. And if you're for what we're using it for, any kind of video, audio stuff, they're monsters. But to be honest, if you're not on Mac, what you should use, and if I was starting over and I wasn't Mac, is DaVinci Resolve, because that's free.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people recommend that. So I'm about to the point of just completely getting rid of all the Adobe and trying something else. So I've had several people mention the DaVinci Resolve and a couple other things. So I think I'm about to go that route. I got a guy that's going to look at my computer and make sure there's no issues with my computer, but I think there was either a software update with Adobe or on the computer and it's caused the issue. But the weird thing is, like, I can use a file, I can record on my phone and use the mobile version on my phone. It's perfect. It goes through and everything, as long as I don't sync it. Once I sync it to the cloud, it won't render on my phone. It won't do anything. And I can record a file on my webcam on the PC and try to render it, and it won't render. So I don't know. I'm just over it. I'm just so mad. Like I said, there's been so many days I just wanted to take my laptop and bounce it off the wall.
Oh, I bet. I've been there, done that, especially when my shit died. Hughes man said that him and Rick from HVAC Survival both used DaVinci Resolve. But
Yeah.
for mine, using the Mac, so I didn't want to buy it, but I have the Mac Studio M1 Ultra chip, so the one that's like $4,000, and I didn't do that on purpose. I wanted the lower model, but when my computer died, this is all I could get. It was this or the cheapest model, and I didn't want the cheapest model only because it didn't have enough memory. So if I had to do it over again, I wouldn't get this, but this thing is a fucking monster. There's nothing that I can throw at this chip. Like, literally, I could do a 45-minute 4K video, and I could render it, and the bitch will render in like a fucking minute and a half.
No, boy.
It's crazy. This thing, it's a monster.
Yeah, I'm going to change up. I'll figure it out. I mean, like I said, I'm just starting out, so my biggest thing is I try to record everything with my phone, and I need to pro or stick to one thing to record everything. So, like, a lot of times I carry two phones. I carry a work phone, which is an iPhone. I carry a personal phone, which is an S21. And most of the time when I record, I use the S21. Occasionally I'll forget it and I'll just use the iPhone, and I'm like, it's two different formats. I'm trying to blend it together. I'm like, man, I feel like an idiot. So I think I'm going to try to stick to recording everything with a GoPro and go from there. I've got some Rode mics I can put on my shirt, and I can talk, and it's going to sound better than just picking it up with the general microphone from the GoPro and stuff. But my goal was never to have a YouTube channel just to like put out like content, like doing repairs and stuff. But I thought about just shutting YouTube down completely, but then everyone's like, no, do your video side of the podcast, put it on YouTube. And, he's like, it's just out there in more places. It's more searchable. And so I'm going to keep it up. I mean, I like doing it. It's just, I got to figure out the editing thing, but it'll come. It's just all part of the process.
Yeah, just don't overthink it. Like, it's, some advice that was given to me by HVAC YouTubers that are big, and then guys that I've got to meet at different things that are just big YouTubers, like not in our genre, but they're like, content is king. It's always about the content. Just make videos. Even if you're shooting with your fucking iPhone, just shoot videos and get it out. And then once you get better, just remember that the audio, people, I'm fucking hawking stuff out of my mouth and shit. People will, if you click on a video, it could be a little grainy video quality, but if the audio is good, you'll watch it. But if you click on a video and it's perfect 8K raw video, it looks amazing, but sounds like shit, you're going to turn it off. So that's why people always say that if you have to do it with your iPhone, which you can do 4K, 24, 30 frames a second, but you have decent audio, people will listen to it, especially in our niche, because we're not like tech reviewers, and as long as they can get the message that you're trying to get across, they'll watch. And the in-field videos, see, that was my thing, because I was like, I'm not in the field anymore. You know what I mean? I worked my way up. I mean, I do trainings for our guys and stuff like that, but those are the videos that people love, the in the field, fixing the stuff. And I wanted to try to always do that, and I would get frustrated because I'm like, I can't do that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not what I do. So I do have a series of videos that I'm going to put out. Some of them have already been recorded, but then I was like, guys like Craig from AC Service Tech or Brian Orr, like, their channels are such good resources for learning. It was like, why would I want to try to compete with them? You know what I mean? Like, they do it and it's good, but people still ask me to do it. So I'm like, fuck it. If you want me to cover some of those topics and give you my point of view, then so be it. I'll do it. One cool camera. So I have all these fancy cameras in here, but one cool camera that I just got is the Osmo Pocket 2. It's a cool little camera. Only because
But
every time I would shoot on my phone, somebody would fucking call me. So I've been using that little thing to film my son's baseball games, and I started making some content with that. So I might try to make some more videos with that thing.
my personal phone, I most record on. I just keep it in airplane mode all the time, and no one ever calls me because I've only had it for I've only had it for like 6 months because when we got bought out, I had an Android and it was like pretty much use it for whatever. Well, we get with the iPhone and it's like highly managed, and like I tried downloading something, it wouldn't let me download it, and like I got in as soon as I got the phone, I downloaded Instagram and a bunch of other apps. Well, like 3 days later, like this a couple of those apps went away, and I was like, "What the hell?" I tried to re-download it; it was restricted, and it said, your device is managed by so and so, and this app can't be on here. And I was like, "Oh shit!" So I just went out and got a personal phone, but no one, like the only people that have that number is like my wife and kids. So I just keep it on airplane mode when I'm recording. Luckily, it does a pretty good job that way. But I'd like to do something different. Your studio cam looks great, though. I'm about to get the information on that because I'm gonna need to get some studio cams. Like I said, I'm building this big, giant, stupid barn out here of a loft, and my goal is to put an office in there where I can sit out and I can edit videos and not have to worry about the dogs barking or the kids screaming and trying to kill each other, or the wife trying to run the vacuum or whatever. I can sit out there, I can drink whiskey and smoke a cigar and just bullshit and edit and do that kind of stuff. So, but eventually, I'd like to have a really good camera. But your camera looks great.
Thanks, man. Yeah, so I used to have all these like real fancy cameras, and I realized it's not really the camera, it's the lens. So I have a Sony A6400, 6400, 6600, and that's a GoPro. But I have these two. I don't have the other one turned on, but it's about the lens. So the best lenses you can get for these Sony cameras is the Sigma. So I have this one is the Sigma 30 mil, and it's like a 1.4 aperture. So that's how it gets all blurry back there. And then this one is the 16 mil, which is a little bit wider. And they're not, I wouldn't say they're cheap for what you get compared to some of these expensive lenses. Like, they're what make it. I could really put them on any camera because I used to have I bought some of the full frame Sony A7S whatever, and I was like, I'm using this as a fucking streaming camera because I like the stuff in here to sit here and I don't ever touch it. So that's why when I come down, I turn everything on and I rock and roll. I have another Sony A6600, or no, I actually use the A7S III. That's the one I use to go out and do take pictures of my kids and stuff because I have one of those long lenses and stuff like that. But I don't even really use it. So I sold a bunch of the stuff, man, because I've bought so much shit that I didn't use. So now it's I refined a few things and then I sold off some things, and now what's here is here. But I can't wait. Whenever we find the house, so I'm living in a rental house right now, which sucks balls. This is a pretty decent studio, though. I've made this space pretty good. But when we move, I am going to build an actual, that's what it's going to be, a studio. That's all it's going to be, soundproofed, where I can murder somebody, that motherfucker, and nobody's going to know. That's probably a bad analysis to use, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, this room used to be a screened-in patio, and someone enclosed it. And like I said, we're in a small house, and I bought this house when I didn't have any money, couldn't do anything. So it is what it is. But, when I build the office, it's going to be soundproof and everything. If you look behind me, there's my kid's PS5 and his gaming monitor, and he's mad because it was 7:55, and I was like, get the hell out of here, dude. I got shit to do. You can't be in here. So now he's outside pissed off.
That's funny because hold on, let me turn this on real fast to see if this other camera will come in.
My biggest issue is lighting. Now I got glasses, and every time I get I have a ring light. I don't have it on. I got a light in the other room to shine on me, but I get the glare on my glasses, and it just drives me up the wall.
Yeah, I watched videos on lighting. So I have two of the Elgato lights on each side, and then I have a light back here that's supposed to be your key light that separates you from the background. So I watched all those videos to try to be able to, I wanted to make things look professional. I didn't really care as much about it at first, but then I wanted to do. Now that I have sponsors and the podcast makes money, they expect a certain product, you know what I mean? So I wanted to try to put out the best one. But here, let me Hold on, let me switch to something real fast, and I'll let you guys
Probably
see.
boring everybody talking about podcasts and YouTube stuff.
No, you're good. So let me. So here
Yeah, I was gonna
is.
say I want to get a view of your whole studio setup.
Yeah, so we have so that's a 40, that's the Samsung G9. That's a 49-inch curved monitor, and it has two 27-inch monitors on the side. Um
Nice.
yeah, so it's all sound treated. I have a rack system back there that holds the cameras. So the monitor, the A cam, the B cam, uh let's see, the C cam, D cam. Um So this is a table that I can shoot down on things. Oh shit, you can't hear me. That you can look shoot down on things, and then I have
Good.
another microphone up there that's just for YouTube, and then Elgato Key Light Air, and then that's the two lights up there, and then Stream Deck. I have the pedal down here. I gotta wear no shoes because I got big feet, so I had to take my shoes off. And then I have a little Stream Deck over there for when I'm trying to like trigger videos, and then I have my little signs and stuff back here, and my TV. So
Nice.
it's not bad. Um, let me get this camera off of here real fast. Let me. Oh, I got the pedal. Duh. There we go. Um, I do love this little thing on here though, where I can.
Motherfucker. I'm sick of this shit. These fucking people are always talking shit all the time.
That's funny.
Yeah, this new mixer is badass. I just got to figure it out, man. It's a lot more complex than the old one. I know it can do so many more things than I do.
Well,
But
yeah, I bought the Rodecaster Pro, and then just like the GoPro, I bought it, and then like 2 months later, the new one came out, and I bought this one. 2 months later, the new one came out. I was like, what the hell?
yeah, I wanted to do it because I was gonna buy another one anyway or something else because I want to be able to do like remote podcast. Like I'm gonna do things at local schools around here. I'm traveling. Like I'm gonna be a guest speaker at like the Women in HVACR event. Um, Different things like that. So that way I can have this will stay here, and then I have that, and I bought two more pod mics, so I have three total. So I can have that in a kit. I have a box that's coming, like a case that wheels. That can be my kit that I take with me when I go places. And
I got a goal like that. I mean, that's part of the reason why I started what I started and why my work backed me is so we can get the word out about what I do. So I was trying to get involved with Skills USA. I don't know if you've heard of that. They just had a competition in Atlanta, but it's like a high school technical and an adult technical class. But they have I'm not sure what all exactly they do, but they have it's skills based tests, and they have everything from like beauticians, barbers, motorcycle repair, car repair, and they've branched into HVAC and appliance repair, and they're trying to get into the commercial appliance repair side of it. So I was trying to get involved with that. Unfortunately, I forgot about it with everything going on, and I realized at the last minutes I couldn't come down. But I'm hoping next year I can get involved in that. But yeah, I'm trying to go to trade schools. I'm trying to go to events. Um, right now, for my current travel setup, it's just a little weird. I forget. I don't even know the name of it. It was like $100. It sounds like crap, but it gets the point across. I think I'm gonna try to start recording with my phone on a tripod, and I got the Rode, the wireless microphones, and
yeah,
just I
the
got a couple
wireless
of those.
goes.
Yeah, I got a couple of those, so I've yet to try those out. I want to try using those for making some videos for YouTube, but
They're
I think
good.
a travel setup, I think I can just use those and use my phone and hopefully or the GoPro and record from it and see how it sounds and steal the audio. It's all a learning game for me.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Ernesto, what is up, my man? I haven't seen you in forever. Hello to everybody else that just came in. So I said hi to Hughes, Kraus, Zeke. What's up, buddy? I've already said hi to Miss Jessica. Ernesto, man, I haven't seen you in a while, bud. Um, yeah, that's what I bought that creator kit for the shit the Pocket 2, and it comes with like the little DJI version that clicks on your shirt. But I have those wireless Go 2s as well, and I have the little my daughters play with it. Hold on, the little Bob Barker microphone you can use. Let me hold on. Let me see it. I'll show you.
That's funny. Yeah, I got the wireless goes. I haven't used them yet, but my thing was to try to use them in the kitchen when I record content, just because I try to pull out the background noise. It's so loud in the kitchen.
Yeah, so this is just you can take one of them and you put it on top. It just slides on there. So that's what I do when I go to like AHR and stuff is I'll keep one with a lavalier mic in it clipped on me,
Yeah.
and then I'll just give this to the person that I'm interviewing. But it's funny because I just want to mess with somebody and touch their face and be like, "Hey, how's everything going? Is it good? You having a good day?" You know?
That was one of my goals, is to try to be on AHR to record a podcast there next year. So I got to get some content out and get cranking out and get going. But I seen Trevor's got one scheduled, and I was like, oh, I'm so jealous, dude.
Dude, I'll get you into if you want to do a podcast at AHR, dude, I'll make it happen for you.
Yeah, please do. I'm excited to go again. I had a blast last year. That was the first major convention I've ever been to, was AHR, and that was the first time in Vegas, first time at a convention. We went to the HVACR Tactical Awards, and that was an absolute blast. I seen you there, but you were being a little social butterfly, so I didn't get to talk to you. But I was blown away just by the show, the people there, how cool everybody was. It was something I'll definitely remember, and I'm excited for Atlanta next year for sure.
Yeah, it's a good time. I love HR. And that's the bad part about me, man, that now my time is so fucking like, because of responsibilities or sponsor stuff that I have to be in so many different places, it's hard to just be able to just fucking enjoy myself sometimes.
We got the AHR, and my buddy Dave Elliott, he goes by Hoosier HVACR on Instagram. He lives a couple hours from me, but he works in the same area. He works for an owner that owns some restaurants, and I just met him on Instagram, and we talked, and he got me tickets to the HVACR Tactical Awards, and I sat with him, and we sat down, I looked across the table, and I was like, holy shit, it's Eric Ani.
Oh, you're frozen, buddy. Oh, Pat's frozen. Come back to me, Pat.
Come back to me, Pat. Please come back. Don't go. Please don't go, Pat.
Oh, Pat. Ooh, Patty Pat. Let me text him and tell him to hop out and come back in. Tell a joke. Yeah. Yeah, so I went to pay a prostitute and to have sex with her, and she gave me my money back. Boom, boom. It's like, just kidding. Yeah. There he is. He's back.
Sorry, small town problems, man. They're running fiber, but right now my internet's atrocious. But no, like I was saying, I was awestruck and blown away at like the social media people and the YouTube people and everything I met at the HVACR Tactical Awards. I was like, HVAC Tactical Awards it was crazy. It was a blast. So I'm definitely, and I'm ready to go back. I already said, hey, they asked for people coming back, and I already put in, I need 2 tickets, one for me and my wife.
Yeah, I'm going. So I was supposed to present last time, but some stuff happened. And Ben was already busy as fuck, man. I was like, hey, dude, like I'm happy to be here. I don't have to present anything. You know what I mean? So I think I'm going to present next. If not, I'm going to be there regardless. It's a good time. I felt good that a bunch of my friends were like, because I wasn't up for the podcast thing, and I was like, who cares, man? I took a year off. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't even on, and all those guys that were up there, like they did fucking amazing. Like HVAC jerks, they are awesome guys, dude. Rich and them, like they do an awesome job. If you don't listen to the HVAC Jerks podcast, you should. Like Gary McCready winning. But I said it when we came back. A lot of people don't realize, and they really should give the credit, is when how this whole podcast pavilion stuff started at AHR was because of Tersh.
Was it?
Tersh is the one who used to go to these fucking conventions, wheeling his shit behind him, and he met Nicole, who is she's the one who runs the public relations, like the media for AHR. So she's who I'll get in touch with you, and I'll hit her up and say, hey, my friend started a podcast. He wants a podcast live there, and it'll be a done deal, dude. So if you want a podcast there, it's done.
Sweet.
Or
Yeah.
worst case scenario, you can come with me, because I try to give some of my spots up, to be honest, so that I can go do things.
I thought I was going to end up on one of yours last year because we were talking and you were waiting on your guest to show up and he was a little late. And I was like, oh, no, don't ask me to do this. Don't ask me to do this. Don't ask me to do this.
Oh, you should have said something, dude. I'd have brought you up, because to be honest, the ones that the best podcast that I had there was with Miss Stacy Ford talking about drug addiction.
Was it?
That one was
Yeah.
awesome.
Your stories about that, man, it's I don't have a drug addiction. I've never really, I was a kid, I smoked weed, but I never done anything else. And the story about that, it's, how you overcome and things, it's pretty inspiring, dude. So
Thank you, man. Yeah, and I just figure, like, I don't hide it. Like, obviously it's something I'm not proud of, but it's huge in the trades, man, and being real about it. And I get so many people that message me saying, Gil, like, thank you for sharing your story. Like, it's been able to help me. And that's awesome. That's the whole point of sharing it. So yeah, that one was good, because the other one I did there with Rector Seal, which Rector Seal loved the company. But
he
that
was late.
Yeah, that podcast was fucking boring, man. Like, I'm asking him questions, like trying to get him to talk. And I was like, oh, yeah, so, how's the product made? And he's like, in the factory. I'm like, no shit, bro. Like, can we try to elaborate a little bit here? And then afterwards, like, they were like messaging me like, hey, can you send us the video and the audio? I'm like, hey, I don't work for you, okay? Like, stop fucking emailing me. Like, but yeah, I can't. So that's just the second one. Vegas was a fucking blast. There's some pictures going around we had to delete because there was some strippers that we were walking down. The bitches just grabbed my fucking hand, and it was crazy.
Yeah, then they want your money. Yeah, it's crazy.
I gave them $50 just to leave me alone.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, me and my wife went. We got there Friday. We got there Friday before before everything, because we'd never been to Vegas. We went a couple days there beforehand. The award show was Sunday night, so we got there late Friday. We're from Indiana, so we're 3 hours ahead of Vegas time. We wake up at like 5 o'clock in the morning Saturday, wide awake. So like, screw it, let's go walk the strip. 6 o'clock in the morning, we walk out. We're staying at the Venetian. We walk like a half a block, and there's some dude at 6:30 in the morning getting a hand job on the strip. We're like, what the fuck are we doing? This is fucking insane. And then we get like half a mile down the road, and you got those guys trying to give you the free shows or whatever and get you in there and try to sell you shit.
Yeah.
And he tried doing it to this guy and his girlfriend, and he said no. And the dude had some smart ass comment about this dude's girl. This dude turned around and knocked him the fuck out, dude. This was like 7 in the morning. I'm like, what the fuck have we got into? I'm like, I don't know about this fucking place. But that was like the craziest we seen was like Saturday morning before 7 o'clock, dude.
Well, dude, I live in Baltimore, dude. Baltimore's a pretty rough city. I'm born and raised here. Well, I got there early the first night, and I didn't know that the Tactical Awards was like going to be like a tux and be dressed up. So I got one at the last minute, and I had to pick it up there. I'm like, fuck it, I'll just walk. You know what I mean? I'm like, it looks like it's not that far away. I'm walking, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not on the strip no more. Like, where you got to do that walk where you're walking and you like spin around to look behind you and shit. And when I got there, I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely fucking Ubering back. But Jess, just so you know, I can definitely get you tickets, but anybody can go to the Tactical Awards. Like, it's not the only time it got to the end where it was hard is because they sold out and so many people wanted to go, so we pulled favors getting people tickets. But once they go on sale, anybody can go to them. But if you need to get tickets or anybody has problems, let me know. I mean, I can reach out to Ben and get them, because I will definitely be there. And that event, I want to say, was maybe like 100 people?
It was 100 people. It was tight in that room. It was a tight 100 in there, but it was a blast, man. The sponsors had their little drinks and everything. That backpack gets me attention all the time. I came back from Vegas, and like 2 weeks later, I had a speaking event at a local community college called Ivy Tech, and I got there. I got a couple extra patches on mine, but I got to the class and I set it down. I got my laptop out, and the instructor's like, you went to the HVAC Tactical Awards? And I was like, yeah, I went to AHR and everything. He's like, dude, how was it? And I had talked to him for like 15 minutes about it. He's like, man, I wanted to go, but I couldn't get away from teaching and everything else. I was like, dude, next year, go if you can go. It was an absolute blast. But I mean, the best part of that whole week was like just meeting people from social media. I mean, like these people I'm friends with, you know, you think you're friends with them, but you meet them in person and they really are your friends. It's crazy. Like these people treat me better than people I've known my entire life.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just they haven't seen the asshole side of me or what, but it's amazing the bond you have with people over the internet you've never met.
Yeah.
It's a cool community, man. It really is.
I agree, man. I love it. That's why I like going to HR. I mean, obviously I have to go there for business purposes, you know, for sponsors. I got to do certain things. But other than that, like the podcasting, whatever, I don't really worry about that. I like to meet people and build those relationships and hang out and do all that kind of stuff, you know, like Tersh. Me and Tersh started hanging out. Tersh is one of my really good friends now. We talk all the time. You know, like just different people hanging out with Chris from HVACR videos. Like it's HVAC rookie, Scott. Me and him talk all the time now, and we met in Orlando. And they're fun. And I think AHR is the best because it's designed for like technicians. Like I went to Service World in Kentucky, and it doesn't hold a candle to AHR. Like it was a good time, it was fun, but not like AHR. And then it's fun because I go there, and then people, like how you said, you see people and people see me and they're like, "Oh my God, it's Gil from HVAC Uncensored," and I'm like, dude, I'm just a normal dude, man. Like, you know, I mean, trust me, like it feels awesome. Like I love it. It's cool, but I'm just a normal guy who puts a microphone in front of me. But the first year we went, I was with HVAC reefer guy and Mike, and he was doing something for solder weld. And these like young guys, it was a group of like 8 or 9 of them walked up. They were probably like all in the early mid-20s. And he was like, "Oh yeah, like this is so-and-so, this is so-and-so. And that's Gil from HVAC Uncensored." Dude, they looked at me like you just said, like, there's LeBron James. And I was just like, this is crazy. And my son makes fun of me. He's like, "Oh, you go to your old middle-aged bald man events." I'm like, shut the fuck up. I'm like, I'm kind of important, all right? I'm kind of important.
I'm a big deal. I'm a big deal in my little world. Leave me alone.
You know? But yeah, it's a good time. And I love meeting people that listen to the podcast, man. Like when I was in Kentucky, I took a picture with a guy. I forget his name. I apologize for that. But I'm in a bar and guy walks up like, "Hey, Gil, I listen to the show," and I get to talk to him. Like, you know, I mean, I love doing that, meeting the people out there that are doing this kind of stuff, the people that actually, you know, like I see all the downloads, you know, inside of the host site, but actually meeting those people and putting a face to them, like that's awesome. You know what I mean? That people take the time out to listen to this dumb fuck talk on a microphone, you know?
Yeah, I've met a lot of people from podcasts, and they've all been really cool. I started off listening to podcasts for like hunting stuff, like I deer hunt, and there's some guys from Illinois I'd listened to for years, and I finally met them this spring, and they were all the coolest guys in the world. But I mean, we're friends on Facebook. You know, we comment like pictures of each other's kids or things we've done, and it's truly a bond and a friendship. It's kind of weird, but I mean, I haven't met no one that wanted to beat me up or talk bad about me yet, so we'll see. I mean, I was kind of happy one day. I had a troll, and I was like, "Hey, it's my first troll," and I actually said that under a comment, and it deleted the comment. And I was like, "Where the hell did you go?"
I've only had one really bad person, and I won't say his name because it's like Candyman. You say it 3 times, and he pops out of the woodworks. But and I really don't care about that situation. More power to him. He can do whatever he does. I spoke my piece. But other than that, everybody's been cool. And you're right. Like some of the friends that I've made through here, like I know that I could call them for something and they would answer the phone and be there, just like the guys I grew up with that I've known for 30 years. So it is pretty cool. And it's good to have that kind of community to be able to, you know, talk to other people that do what you do, or, you know, and just different things. So, I mean, especially like in the podcasting world, you know, talking to different people and, you know, like sometimes I'll talk to these companies and, you know, I try to only link with companies that I either use their product or like people that I feel comfortable with telling other people to go check them out. Or if I think like, hey, this isn't a good fit for me, I'll send them to other people, you know, like, hey, my friends do this show and this is probably more your fit, and they'll go pay them, you know, a couple of $1,000, and people are like, "You're an idiot. Why didn't you take that?" I'm like, "Because I'm helping friends, and it's not really for me."
Well, I made a post a while back. I got a bunch of tools from, I won't say who they are, but I got a bunch of tools, and it was part of their ambassador program. And it wasn't like an ambassador like where you show content making their stuff. It was like you go and you teach people how to use their tools, and they pay you, and you get to use the tools in the process. And people were so butthurt, like, "Oh, you sold out." I'm like, I sold out. I was like, at that time, I didn't even have 1,000 Instagram followers. I'm like, I'm nobody, dude. I was like, I have to teach their tools. I was like, I just made a post because I thought it was cool that they sent me all this stuff. I said, I get to use them, but yeah, I have to teach classes on people how to use their tools and try to get people to buy their tools. I'm like, I'm not a sellout. I was like, they didn't give me this for my social media presence because I don't have one.
Yeah, well, and it's not a sellout. I will, Hughes. I get people that that message me all the time. I think now that I have a few more that I'm talking to that I'll only take 5 as the max. But Yellow Jacket, they're my rock. I've had them since the beginning, and that just reminds me of my dad. So they kind of have sentimental values.
Yeah.
Chirp and Company Cam are both amazing fucking companies as far as what they do. They're 2 services that we use at Beltway, so it's not like
Yeah.
I'm telling people to use things that I don't use. And then Blue On speaks for itself. That
Blue
was
Man, they've saved people's asses. I know, like on some equipment and needing troubleshooting and tech support. It's come through in the manuals and stuff they have. Like, the weird old stuff, and like you can't find it anywhere, and you go there and it's there. I'm like, how do they have this?
yeah, and
So
it's
that's pretty.
and it's free. Like as a technician, why would you not want that resource on your phone? You know what I mean? So, and I don't say this to like I don't want this to sound the wrong way, but I have I have turned down so much money that because I will not like people are like, "Oh, I'll send you this," and they'll say it in the email. But if you could make a video talking good about the product, and I'm like, I won't do that. You know what I mean? Like I'll check it out, and if it's cool, then I'll say something good about it. But if it's not, then
I'm
I'm
gonna
not
say,
gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. And they're like, "Oh, well, maybe it's best if we don't, we don't do this." I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna lie to people, man. I'm not, and that's
yeah,
one thing that I try to always stay true to myself is from the first day that I put a microphone in front of me till now, I've always been the same dude, and I'll always be the same dude. Um, if I have to change to do this, then what the fuck am I doing? You know what I mean? Then I shouldn't be doing this anymore.
yeah. Well, I I don't know. I mean, the whole tool thing and the sponsor thing kills me because I've always watched YouTube and I see the guys that like try too hard to get sponsorship or like they get something that's the best everything, but 3 weeks later all of a sudden they got something new fancy from them and it's the best everything. I'm like, man, I'm like, I don't know how you get away with this. I'm like, people see you're clearly just whoever gives you the latest greatest thing, you're just kissing their ass. I'm like, that's not me. I'm the same way. If you give me something and you want me to say it's good and it sucks, I'm gonna say it sucks. So you better watch out. I mean, I don't care. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I don't want someone to be like, "Well, I bought this and you said it's great, but it won't even do this." I don't want my name on that. I mean, and I'm nobody, so
Well, man, everybody, you're an end user, so you know what I mean. So it doesn't matter what subscriber base and stuff. You use the products. That's why I love Yellow Jackets so much because I told them the truth. I was like, hey, like you're coming out with things, but like you're kind of late to the party. You know what I mean?
mhm.
So you guys need to try to get out there in the forefront, and they actually listen. When we tell them stuff like, hey, this sounds awesome. I mean, this looks awesome, but if you change this, this, and this, it'll be so much better. And talking to their like development team, like they actually listen to what I'm saying. Or if I hear things on the internet, what people are saying, I go back to them and they fucking take that, into consideration.
Yeah, I've been looking at their new stuff. Their new stuff looks pretty nice. I use the other Yellow Company stuff. I mean, I paid for it myself. I use their stuff and I like it. But the Yellow Jacket stuff's coming out. I'm pretty intrigued, and if I could catch a counter day or something where I get a demo of it, I may jump on trying some of it.
Well,
I mean, I'm
hey,
all about. I'm a terrible person, dude. My wife gets mad because if I have a credit card and I see some tools, dude, I will buy something if it's the latest and greatest. I just ordered a bunch of pack out stuff. She's like, "Where are you gonna put that?" I was like, "Well, I got this big barn. I can load up a pack out."
that's funny. Well, I told everybody, so in conjunction with Yellow Jacket and Blue On, and this is only part of it. I have a bunch of these that we bought that we're giving away. Let me change the camera angle. A bunch of these that I'm giving away, a bunch of Blue On stuff. I have one of their, I think I've showed these a couple of times. And as far as I know, they are the only company that makes a wireless dual port manometer. I don't think anybody has one yet. And
I've
then
got wireless with their singles, but yeah, that's a
Yeah.
pretty nice little setup. I want to check it out. I want to get my hands on it. I like to feel stuff, and the reason I bought what I bought is because someone I knew had it, and I used it, and I was like, hey, I liked it. But I'm not brand loyal. I mean, I'll try everything. I'll spend money on the dumbest stuff in the world, and if it don't work, hey, lesson learned.
Yeah,
Um,
and I don't lie. Like, and the other yellow brand is Field Peace, and I use Field Peace. I have some of their stuff. I have a thing back there, and you can't go wrong by using them. I
Yeah.
just love what Yellow Jacket stands for. Like
Mhm.
do I think that they have the best of everything? No, I don't. I'm not gonna lie, but I think the stuff they do make is quality, and they stand by what
Oh,
they
yeah.
do.
Yep.
Like I love their vacuum pumps. They're not all jazzy like some of the Field Piece stuff, and things like that. But I really like them. Like the first pump that I ever bought with my own money was the Bullet, and
Yep.
I still have it back here. And I have a bunch of their new stuff that I'm gonna give out. I have the new Yellow Jacket Bullet. I have one of their commercial pumps. And they're all A2L certified because a lot of people don't realize when that stuff starts that you might have to change some of your pumps. Jacob
So,
Buckwalter, what's up, man? I haven't seen you in forever, buddy. And he said
yeah,
Testo has a dual port wireless manometer for a few years.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't
That's
either.
cool.
It doesn't exist. Fuck Testo.
Like I said, the other yellow brand, Fuel Piece. I use their. I don't know why I have a 10 CFM pump for what I do, but I have a 10 CFM pump, and it's a new one. It's great. I used the Bullet for years, never had a problem with it, but I had the chance to use this one, so I use it, and I mean, it works great. But the Bullet, dude, I I pumped so much. I mean, restaurants, you get some nasty shit, dude. I've had got those stupid condensing loops. They use to evaporate the water, and they always get holes in them. They always suck up moisture. I had a Taco Bell under counter reach in freezer. I mean, this thing held like 9, 10 ounces of refrigerant. It had so much water in it that I had to leave it on the pump for like 2 days. I was going back twice a day changing the oil, and the oil looked like milk every single time. And that Bullet, I ran that thing for 48 hours straight, dude. I'd shut it off long enough to change the oil, fill it back up, and turn it back on, and that thing just kept going. I mean, and I don't think I could probably do it with this Field Piece one. I don't know if it lasts 2 full days just running nonstop.
Yeah, it might, and some of the guys that work at Beltway, like, it's funny because they either have one of the new Field Piece pumps or they have Yellow Jacket pumps, and both of them are good. And
Oh yeah,
and like I say, man, guys, anything that I ever offer to you guys, it's just me asking you to check it out. If you look
hmm
at it and you're like, hey, I don't want to do this, then hey, it's your hard-earned money, man. You do whatever you want with it. Um, don't buy something or use a service just because I say so. You know what I mean? But I do go through and try to do all the legwork on anything that I do offer to make sure that it's legitimate. Things that I actually do use before I offer to people. So I get it. Let's see.
yeah. You're not out there just blindly suggesting stuff. You're stuff you use and stand behind. So that I mean that goes a long ways.
Well, and that's what makes it fun is when I get sponsored and get paid by companies that I would talk about for free.
Yeah, that's a good
So
thing.
that's what makes it fun, and that's what I want my partnerships and sponsorships to be. If I have to get on here and I have to like think about what to say, or I don't have a personal story, or like I can tell that I'm being fake, then I'm not fucking doing it. Like
I like the company cam thing. I've heard a lot about it. We use a software. It's a huge software we use for dispatching. It does everything, but we have a file room and we take pictures of all our jobs and stick it in there. And so I've had the aspect of taking the pictures, but the company cam, the things you can do with it, as far as you can have a contractor, the GC, take a picture and you can see it before you get to the site. That kind of stuff's awesome, man. That's cool. I mean, that makes your job so much easier. You see what you're walking into before you get there if you need to, and it's invaluable, man.
yeah, well,
So
I
I can,
mean, and it does things that I didn't even know that it does, like the geotagging, like where it puts like if a customer was like, oh well, so and so wasn't here that day, it's like, oh well, yeah, he was. The picture says that. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. And then when you upload them, it and I'm not explaining it right. This is something new that I just learned, that it automatically like links with Google, so that when people search for you, like it comes up like, oh, Gil in Baltimore, Maryland. You know what I mean? And here's a picture of the work. Like the way it links, it's pretty fucking neat. Good night, Jess. Thanks for coming as always, girl. I appreciate you. Um, so it does all kinds of cool things, and the chirp thing, the automation, like we have literally at Beltway, we have tried so many companies, and when you get bigger and start to grow, like that constant like communication with your existing customer base is really really important, but it's trying to find the right way to do it. And I've been recommended so many services that I've used, and they don't do what they say they do, or it works for a little bit and then like it doesn't work anymore. And Chirp is fucking legit. Like I felt like an idiot. Like I was literally talking to the owner, which I said in the podcast, and I thought it was him. Like it looked like it was him personally texting me, and it was all automation. I was like, that's fucking badass. I felt like an
Awesome.
idiot, but it proved how real it seems. Like that's how a customer is gonna feel, like I'm really texting them, you know?
And that's a good part about it. They feel like they're talking to a person rather than just a machine.
Yeah, because you know how it is when you get those fake, texts that come through, and you know that they're automated. Like I normally text back stop because I don't want them. They get annoying and all that kind of stuff. So it's
I generally text back like obscene things and stuff I shouldn't. So
yeah. Jacob, so I have not so I was going to I was almost sponsored by Thermogrid, and I've had them on the podcast, and I have seen it and used it. I think that they're pretty decent, but I don't know enough about them to really give an opinion one way or another. I do think that some of the other softwares are better than them as far as what I know. But I'll reserve judgment, like I said, because I don't know enough to be able to say one way or the other. But damn, it's almost fucking 10 o'clock, dude. I didn't realize how late it was, man. I'm sitting here
I
talking
know
with
that's why I looked down. I was like, "Holy cow!" I don't
well,
care. I mean, I'm used to running on 4 or 5 hours.
well, before we start closing this thing out, man, I guess let everybody know where they can, where they can find like your YouTube channel, your podcast, all that kind of stuff when it comes out. Let everybody know.
Podcast is kind of up in the air. Like I said, I don't have any consistency. I need to work on that. So that's one of my goals. I set some goals for the podcast. Is so many per month, so many interviews. So I'm trying to be more consistent. I'm gonna have an interview this weekend. Hopefully, have it out. I'm trying to go for Monday, Tuesday release date. I have a website, commercialkitchenchronicles.com. I'm on YouTube. You can search it there. My Instagram is kitchen underscore HVACR underscore repair, or I think that's it. And then there's Facebook page, Commercial Kitchen Chronicles. LinkedIn, just Pat Finley. Pat Finley is my name on Facebook. You pretty much search Commercial Kitchen Chronicles, it pops up just about anywhere. Trying to get that name out there and build up. But I appreciate you having me on here and getting my name out and what we do out. I mean, it's a dirty job in the kitchen, but I mean, people love to eat, so I'll stay busy.
Yeah, no, that's cool, man, and I'm happy for you, man, and it'll start getting, easier as you do it. One thing to do to start, especially if you don't do live shows, is if you have a Saturday like once a month, record a bunch of stuff like one day, and then you
Mm.
can set it up so you're good. Little things like that to try to help, because consistency is what will help you grow. If people know like every Monday HVAC Uncensored is going to be out, and for the most part that's how it is. Here lately, because of the summer and different things and me traveling, it's been out a little late. Like I had a podcast released today, like a random time, but I was just trying to play catch up. That will help you grow, but it does take time to get there, dude. So don't. This needs to stay fun. Don't ever let it be like it pressures you, because when you do that, it makes it like another job and it makes you not want to do it.
That's what I was saying. I was like, man, this is a full time job just between social media and everything else. And you were saying, your wife's supportive, and my wife will actually, I give her access to stuff. She'll actually try to put some stuff together. My youngest son's actually trying to make me a new intro video together and stuff. So my kids and my wife are involved in it, and they understand. So I can't really complain. So luckily they back me 100%. So I've got support from my employer and my wife and kids. So I should be good.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, my my wife will send some emails and stuff like that sometimes. Other than that, she don't do too much besides, she's like, "Oh, you got paid." I'm like, "Yeah, don't touch it," because now it's like I try to tell her like it's like a business. Like you can't just take that and just transfer it over. Like it's got to stay in the podcast account like a business. If you own an
Yeah.
HVAC company, you can't just, "Oh, we made a bunch of money today, I'm just gonna put it all over here." So I told her, I'm like, "Babe, you got to be careful." You know what I mean? I'm like, we'll take care of it, but it's a journey, and man, if I can ever help you in any way, you just reach out, my man. I'm always here to help. If you need to come back, if something happens with the show or something changes, hit me up, man. We'll make it work. Get you back on here and get it out so people can get that fucking information.
Yeah, once I get going, I'll have you on mine. Like I said, mainly I just sit there and talk to myself, but I'm trying to get to where I interview people, and I got quite a few people said they do it. Some people that are in the industry, some people that aren't in social media, So I've got some manufacturers I do some stuff with, and some of those people said they'd come on and talk about their product and stuff, and so I got people that want to do it. It's just finding time to do it. So I told my work, and they're pretty understanding. So if I have a hard date like today, I worked 20 hours yesterday. I slept about 6. I went back in and worked 8 or 9 today. And she was like, "Hey, I got some overtime calls. I'm not on call." And I was like, "I've got a hard 8 o'clock. I can't do it." I said, "I got to record." Like, okay, so they understand. It's just me prioritizing. I'll say I want to go home and record on my own, but yet I'll let them, hey, load me up with work, and I'll just blow off the podcast and go to work. I mean, I, I like the money, but I like taking care of my customers too. I feel bad for my customers if they're left behind or they can't, open or they're struggling. So that's what separates a good tech from a great tech is how you feel about your customers, I think.
It's the relationships you build, man, and that's why, I liked residential so much, and even the commercial side, because you build those relationships with people that you want to take care of them, you want to do right by them, and I think that when you make it about the relationships, that's how you succeed. If you worry about money, you'll never make it. That's
Yep.
pretty much how it works. So, yeah, that's awesome, dude. If you get it going, I'll be more than happy to come on, man. Because like I said, I used to do that. I missed that side. That's what I came up in with my dad. So I love talking about all that stuff. And I remember having the grease in my arms, changing the fryer the inserts out and stuff like that. When I get all that grease all over my fucking arm hair and it'd be stuck there for weeks, it would
Uh,
suck balls.
yeah, I can't keep my van door clean, man. The grease on my arms just destroys it. It's just black and nasty. Um, my wife hates my laundry. I try to do it separate, try the hottest water I can get, and it's different. But like you said about the live stream thing, like I had Ryan Hughes. He gave me like my first time being on live, and I was like a little kid. I was freaking out, and he was a cool dude. He's had me on, so yeah, I'm gonna start doing that when I get some free time. Start just going live and just see if I can't get someone to come on and bullshit and just hanging on YouTube live for a little bit.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I want to try to start getting back to doing the hangouts and stuff again, because it used to be we'd do hangouts where a bunch of people would get together on one person's channel, and Ryan and Rick, like, they have a cool hangout that they do when they're live. It's really cool. I've been on with Rick before, but I don't think Rick and Ryan were together then when they did that. But and I'm normally gone on the weekend, so I've been trying to catch. I try to support everybody. If I'm not there live, then I watch it after the fact. Like the overtime guys or Hughes Man and Rick. I try to watch the stuff after the fact if I can't get it live. But it's good that we all support each other, man, because we're all trying to do the same thing. We're just trying to help people
Friday,
and give back.
Friday nights are generally running calls, so I'll turn on the overtime channel on the Bluetooth, and I'll just throw it in the seat and just listen to them talk and just laugh on the side, laugh along. I don't get to watch it, but it's playing over the Bluetooth, so I can hear it. Um, I want to meet Rick. He's only like a couple hours from me. Him and Bill, Curious HVAC, they're both only like a couple hours from me. So I want to meet those two guys. They're pretty cool guys. So
Yeah. Obviously I met Ryan at AHR, and I give it to him, man. Like, all the rest of us guys were talking about filming and doing all this stuff, and my man was in there with his fucking GoPro filming like a champ. His recap of the HVAC Tactical Awards was the best out of, I don't know if there was even others, but his recap was fucking awesome. Like, it was really good.
nice.
Yeah. What are you talking about? You guys doing live this weekend? come over this weekend, yeah, hit me up, dude. I'll come on with you guys. This will be one of the first weekends I'm home. I'm actually supposed to be in Cape Cod right now, but because of my mom and her procedure, I am not. So my son went to Cape Cod without me, staying with one of his coaches. And I'm technically supposed to be in Atlanta for 8 days next week. So I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Who are you jumping on live with this weekend?
Huh?
Yes, who's trying to get you to jump on live with them this weekend?
No, he said no. Come to my house. I forget where do you live again, Hughes? Man, you're not that far from me, aren't you? Like in PA?
He's in PA somewhere.
Yeah, he's not. You're not that far from me, dude. I might have just been. I was just in PA. Like I was up there. Like I was in like Phoenixville. I was up by Villanova. So fuck, I was probably like not that far from you, dude. Like the last couple of weekends for baseball tournaments. I didn't even think about that. Thank you guys. I
Ryan.
appreciate it, man. Yeah, so long story short, and I don't really give up my personal business, but my mom had a cancerous node on the top lobe of her left lung, and they did a bunch of tests and found out that it didn't spread. And they like cut her throat damn near to like check the lymph nodes to make sure it didn't spread. That came back good. We went in yesterday, and we got there like 8 o'clock in the morning at a hospital up near DC, and she didn't go back until like 5 something, and they went in and took out the top lobe of her lung. But a woman who has smoked for 50 years, losing part of your lung. Yeah, so now we're having some recovery issues. The lung's not sitting in the right spot. She's got to be on oxygen. She's supposed to come home today. She didn't come home. So, yeah. But I do appreciate all that. Thank you guys. I'm normally like an open book, and I pretty much share everything. But, sometimes some personal things I try to just keep to myself. But thank you guys, man. Hit me up, Hughes. We'll try to work that out, dude. Definitely get together and do some content. I know it's getting late, buddy. I'm sorry. I'm over here jabbering my mouth.
Oh, you're good. I'm good. I slept in today. Like I said, I didn't get home till 1:30. I didn't get up till 7:30, so I was that's sleeping in for me. So I'm good.
Yeah, it's we'll work it out, man. We'll try to do some meetups with the PA guys. So you said you're in Indiana? That's where you are?
I'm Central Indiana. Like I try to be on my first job by 6 or 7 every day. I mean, that first AM job in the restaurant world's the best because no one's in there. You can get in there early. Nothing's turned on. I always tell my boss, I'm like, man, we could charge a premium for a first AM call. I was like, you guys are losing revenue by not doing this. I'm like, you could charge a surcharge, because people are like, oh, first AM. My first AMs are booked for like 2 weeks. I mean, I was like, you guys are really missing out. I said, you could charge a premium for first AM every time and get it.
Yeah, they are the best when the kitchen's not hot. Nobody's in there yet. You don't have people like reaching over you, fucking trying to grab things out of refrigerators and shit.
All over the floor. I'm bald headed. I wear a hat occasionally, most of the time. But when I first started this, I was working in a McDonald's, and it was lunchtime, and I had to fix the fryer. So I had to take up some real estate, but I was in front of the fryer, sitting cross-legged Indian style, and I was tucked up in there, and I was working. And the girl picks up a basket of fries, doesn't shake them. She pulls it out and carries it over the top of my head, and all that grease just falls on my head. And dude, I called her everything but a white girl, I think. And it burnt me so bad. So I said I had to start wearing a hat. But I hate working in a busy restaurant. I mean, I got to do it. But if it's a busy restaurant, I try to make sure I do it in the morning before they get busy. And then the later calls I try to save for like schools and hospitals and nursing homes where, they'll work around you and you don't have to be underneath a fryer.
Yeah, that shit's no bueno. And then the people act like, you're such an inconvenience. It's like, hey, motherfucker, you called me because your shit's broke. I don't want to be here any more than you want me to be here, okay? I'll never forget when I worked in a restaurant and they had a 2-door reach-in that wasn't working. It was like 80 degrees that I was there to work on, and the guy was like, hey, buddy, will you hand me those hamburger patties out of there? And I was like, what? I was like, I'm not handing you shit, bro. And then after you get it fixed, like you said, they're like, hey, do you want free lunch? I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm like, I'm good. I'm not eating this shit.
I will cook food. Like if I hear a fryer timer going off, I will reach over and shut the timer off and pull it out and hang it up on the rack. I'm like, get this shit. I'm sick of hearing this thing beep.
It's cool when they make you like some of like the shit that's not on the menu. They're like, "Oh man, try this." I'm like, "Oh, fucking right, let me have it."
Yeah,
Um,
employees making all this crazy shit at Taco Bell. They're the craziest ones about it. Taco Bell will make some weird ass shit. I'm like, that looks fucking amazing. What is that?
Taco Bell, man, don't like me. I eat Taco Bell. I'll be in the bathroom for fucking, a
Uh,
day. Yeah, can't do Taco Bell anymore. I used to love it when I was younger. Now it just doesn't like me. But yeah, fuck, it's getting late. I'm sorry, buddy.
oh,
Thank
you're
you for
good.
coming on, man. I appreciate you. Like I said, best of luck with the channel, man. Keep rocking and rolling. It'll get easier as it goes. Just keep having fun with it. And like I said, if I can help in any way, you just keep hitting me up, my man. I appreciate you.
I appreciate all your help, man. You'll definitely be hearing from me. I look forward to talking to you in the future and seeing you in Atlanta next year for sure.
For sure, man. Let me go ahead and close this thing out real fast, my man. Everybody, thank you guys for coming here tonight and hanging out, man. I appreciate you guys, man. I really do appreciate you guys being live. And I'm gonna try to do a hangout here soon where it's just me, just talking to all you guys. We can bullshit. You guys can come in with me. I'll have the phone on. The Yellow Jacket, well, the Titan text line brought to you by Yellow Jacket. You guys can call in on the podcast phone or whatever it may be, so we can just sit back and bullshit and see how everybody's doing, how your summer's going, etc., all that kind of stuff. If you can, come back here tomorrow night, 8 p.m. I have Mr. Craig Magalaccio, AC Service Tech. I am so honored to talk to him. You know, I love every interview, but, people like him, guys that I watched their channel and they helped me, it's a real honor to be able to talk to them. So I am really, really looking forward to being able to talk to him tomorrow night. So if you guys want, come back here tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I will be talking to Mr. AC Service Tech. That should be another good live show. Yep, if you could, let me switch this over. If you guys could make sure that you follow the podcast on all the social media sites, I would really appreciate it. So that's going to be obviously Facebook, right here on YouTube. Go ahead, subscribe, and then over on Instagram. That way you stay up to date. I want to thank all the podcast sponsors once again for helping to make this show possible. So, Blue On, Yellow Jacket, Chirp, and Company Cam. If you didn't know, Blue On today finally dropped where you can order parts through the Blue On app through your local supplier. Check that out. It's pretty amazing. It's going to be groundbreaking. I want to thank all of them for helping me be able to do this and being able to take away the time from my family to be able to do this kind of stuff. It's pretty awesome. I think that's probably about it on all those little things. Yeah. Other than that, man, guys, remember, be safe out there. We all got somebody to make it home to. All right. It's crazy. All right. So pay attention when you're driving. People are nuts. People shooting up places. Be careful. All right. Do the little things. Set yourself apart from the next guy. Like me and Pat were talking earlier. There's so many things on YouTube, on Facebook, books, podcasts, whatever it is. There's no reason that you can't learn something that you want to learn. All you have to do is put the effort forward to do it. All right. Keep getting better. I promise you, if there's something that you want in life or something that you want in this trade, if there's a will, there's a way. You can get it. You can work through it. I promise you that. So, yeah. Other than that, yeah. You guys have a good week, man. I will talk with you mofos tomorrow night. Hope you guys are here. Until then, I'll talk with you mofos later. All right? Peace.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored Podcast may not necessarily be the views and